The new CBR 600 is all well and good, but if you want the most goddamn intense, over-the-top rush there is in motorcycling today, then this is it. The new Suzuki GSXR1000. The spec sheet says it all. 170 kilos and just over 150 horsepower at the back wheel. That is enough to send even the hardest of riders into a panic attack. Fast doesn't even come close. Strapping yourself to a laser-guided missile would be much more like it. Ever since it first rocked our world back in early 2001, the GSXR1000 set new standards in power and handling. Acing the competition by at least 10 brake horse, it stomped all over the lot of them. The Fireblade may have been more accurate, the R1 better looking, but for brute firepower in a seriously capable chassis, the GSXR left them all for dead. And in 2003, with the updated model, things have only got better. The biggest Achilles heel on the old GSXR1000 was always the front brakes. They weren't bad, but for a bike so fast, you'd have wanted them to be a little bit better. They may have been 6-potters as well, but they didn't quite have the power or feel needed for the job. For 2003, however, Suzuki have now gone down to 4-pot calipers, radially mounted, and the important thing is, they really do the business. Over in the chassis department, the frame has gone down the traditional lighter and stiffer route, which seems to have cured the old bike's tendency to want to run slightly wide in faster turns. Now it dives in and out of any corner you care to point it at more eagerly than before, holding a more accurate line and being more controllable all round. How's about criticism? Well, she's still a physically big beastie, especially next to the squat R1 or slender Fireblade, and I'm not convinced about that new nose cone. But otherwise, the only other potential fly in the ointment is, can you handle it? This is an awful lot of power and handling on offer here. And even though any bike is only as fast as the bloke or lady at the controls, sometimes this bike can just be a little too fast. What I'm getting at is that if you ride one of these on the road, you could find it a little frustrating, simply because you can never quite get near its limits. There's just too much of it. Even on the track, it'll take a very skilled rider to get near its limits. But then you don't buy a bike like this for pottering around. You buy it because it is the most intense and over-the-top two-wheeled experience that money can buy. And looked at that way, this bike is all there is to it. Now, let's have a look at the scores. Styling, 8 out of 10. In blue and white, it's gorgeous. In the brown and black we had, maybe not quite so good, but either way, it's still an impressive looking bike. Performance, 10 out of 10. Too much is never enough. Comfort, 7 out of 10. Perfectly bearable, very much fun. Street cred, 10 out of 10. It's got a 1000cc logo on the back of it. Everyone knows you are riding the most serious sports bike you can buy today. Reliability, 7 out of 10. Could be a little higher. Again, last year's model lasted very well indeed, so I don't think this one's likely to be any different, but we don't know for certain yet. Value for money, 7 out of 10. Fair enough, it's not cheap, but if you want this sort of performance, where else are you going to get it for this money?